All right, so I'm going to talk to you about developing pitchers now. All right, developing pitchers for me, it happens in a lot of different ways. All right, and when I say that, you'll see running through this slide here. We'll start. Our job as a pitching coach is to get to know each individual pitcher. Okay, because everybody you got on your pitching staff is going to learn a different way. All right, and it's your job as a coach to find the best way for them to learn. Okay, and communicate that to them. All right. So for me, we'll start with the throwing program. All right, you see the weight room second, core velocity belt. I don't know if you guys have any core velocity belts. Anybody got a core velocity belt? Are familiar with it? Really good tool. I would recommend it. I think it's about $300. I would recommend getting one of those, and I'll show you why a little bit later. Routine work, we'll talk about video, and then TrackMan and Rapsodo. All right, so throwing program. For me, this is the most important part of every day. All right, as a pitcher, you got to be able to throw. All right, and the more you throw, the better you're going to get at. All right, so for us, the throwing program starts with some plyos, but we'll take it straight to the field here. It's done with a leg lift, a shuffle, a step behind, heel to heel, or a step through. All right, those four things for me help us get in rhythm as we come back in. All right, what I don't like, how many of you guys have pitchers that go out and they start their catch play just lifting their leg and throwing? We all got it, right? All right, what I don't like right there is that's probably not the tempo that they're going to have when they get to the game. All right, so we don't do leg lifts until we come back in to 70, 60 feet. Okay, on the way back in, whether it's we go out to 90 feet, whether we go out to 120 feet, whether we go out to 180 feet. All right, does that make sense to you guys? If there's questions, just stop me. All right, so what I mean by a leg lift and shuffle, all it is a leg lift and then a shuffle behind. Okay? The step behind. We'll step behind, just a step behind, shuffle, and throw. Heel to heel. All it is you're clicking your heels, moving forward. The step through. What I mean by step through is this here. We'll use this for some guys that have trouble staying on line. Okay? So we're going to step in front. Some of you guys will struggle with this, okay? You got to have some athleticism to be able to do this, but all we're going to do is step through, and what that does is help us as pitchers not get across our body. All right, Monty talked earlier about being strong in our base. This is going to put us in a really good position from not getting in our quad, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, all right? It helps us get in our glute. All right, a lot of your guys can probably benefit from stepping through in the front. You see, you can use delivery once you get back inside of 75 feet. All right, so that's one way of learning for our guys. I think that's probably the most important piece of each day. I'm left-handed, I screwed it up. The weight room. How many of you guys get a chance to get in the weight room and lift during the season? You guys get a chance to do that? A lot of guys, and you'll see, like, if you start communicating with your pitchers, a lot of guys can learn here in the weight room. All right, you see a lot of different movements here we got, and through these movements, they're able to take that stuff and take it back to your throwing program. All right, trap bar deadlift, squats, one leg RDL. All right, when you're doing those things, Monty talked about the base earlier. All right, you got to have your feet. All right, and we'll get into that some later with the core velocity belt. But if you don't have your feet, you're screwed. All right, same thing when you get on the bump. All right, if we don't have our feet, we start to get in trouble. All right, but this also teaches like movement patterns that you're able to talk to. How many of you guys have talked about like hinging and things like that with your guys? You talk about hinging. You might talk about it on the baseball field and they don't quite understand it. All right, they still want to get to their quad, but you take them in the weight room and you're like, man, that guy does a really good deadlift and he hinges really well. All right, talk to them in the weight room and get them to realize, hey man, you're doing it right here. Let's take that to the field. All right? And the more you can do that, you'll start to see a lot of guys will learn that way. And it'll be a lot easier on you as a coach when you're out there on the field. You know that screen right there is not actually. Okay. Did I skip one or is that it? Okay, so the core velocity belt. All right, we use this a lot. I mean, our guys will probably get on this 2 to 3 times a week. All right, really good tool for our guys. You can see we got a couple different locations right here. This is hooked. These are real simple locations. And what I'll show you here, we'll play the first one, I think. No, we'll play the second. All right, here we go. The first one. You can see this is Chris Beach here from Chapin. He's being pulled here. It's hooked to his top right hip. All right, so he's a guy that will get into his quad. All right, so what he's doing here, we're pulling that into his problem. Okay, we're pulling it into his problem. So what he's going to do is he's going to resist. He's going to resist his problem and watch him sit back and watch how from ankle to knee to hip, he's really strong. He's creating a hinge. Everybody see that? Now what we'll do is we'll go to the backside. Okay, I talked about him having the problem going this way. All right, we're gonna feed it a little bit, let it go that way. All right, but what we're challenging here now, we're starting to challenge his foot. Okay, we've pulled him this way, and he's really had to stay grounded in his foot. Okay, so he's starting. He may feel like he's sitting back a little bit. All right, from this direction. Now we put him in this direction, and he's gonna feel like he's going a little bit towards his toe. All right, what I want to do is I want to confuse his foot so he learns to use his whole foot. All right, so when you go to that, we'll go back to the weight room for a second. When we talk about the feet, when you do a squat, when you do a trap bar deadlift, whatever it may be, you want to get your whole foot in the ground. Okay, why is that? Why is that? More power. Okay, so same thing applies right here on the mount. We want as much power and force as we can get. All right, and it all starts in the ground. Okay. We'll go to the third one here. I'm still pointing to the screen. All right, so watch this foot right here. Watch Chris's back foot. Well, anyway, what happens here? We're hooked to the bottom back hip here. All right, and what that does is it helps him load his hips. Okay, without thinking, he's able to load his hips. Okay, he also has to stay grounded in his foot, which helps him become grounded down here in his land leg. All right. Any questions on that core velocity bar right there?
I got a question.
Yeah.
Does he have an issue? The last two are curveballs, they look like? Does he do all pitches?
I mean, he just did that for fun.
Okay.
Like, I didn't tell him to do a curveball.
I didn't know if he had an issue with.
No, he's been working on his curveball, so maybe that's why he did that.
Just keep on that change up.
Right. Whatever, we'll get it to play now. See how stable his feet are? The more stable his feet are, the better he is as far as strike throwing. And everybody here wants their guys to throw strikes this year, I'm sure. Check the feet. All right, routine work. Routine work for me is basically, you'll see these guys, they're going through, and I'll just let it play. All right, basically what they're doing is they're going through their game, all right, in their head. They're visualizing, they're not throwing a baseball, no baseball in their hand at all. All right, but they're going to visualize success here. All right, it's going to take a game-like approach. There's zero mechanical fault. Okay, but these guys are seeing themselves throw strikes, execute pitches, and get swing and miss. All right, if it's a ground ball guy, maybe he goes out there and he gets 3 ground balls. If it's a fly ball guy, he goes out there and gets three fly balls. If it's a guy that gets a bunch of strikeouts, he goes out there and sees himself getting those strikeouts. All right. What we want to do is we want to train our mind, because our mind is a funny thing. Our mind can't decipher whether it's actually game-like or this in the bullpen. All right. Our mind can't see the difference if we can put ourselves there mentally. So we do this a lot. We'll do this. They'll do 1 inning the day. Like if it's a starter, they'll do it 1 inning before they go pitch the next day, and they'll do it 2 innings before their bullpens. But what tends to happen here, no mechanical thought, they start moving at game speed, they start actually putting their body in the right places with no mechanical thought. Any questions on the routine work?
Yeah, they're doing counts in their head too.
They're doing situations. I mean, they'll, like if a guy's best pitch is his slider, okay, maybe he wants to see himself get ahead with a slider, or he wants to see himself get a swing and miss with a slider. Whatever the situation may be, we want to work to his strengths and start visualizing what he's actually going to do in the game. What I'll do is I'll give them who the first 3 hitters may be in the game, so they know what they're facing going into that game. Video. All right. I mean, you guys know. I mean, these guys, they got the phone with them all the time. All right. They're always looking at video. All right. So I think that's another way that you guys have to deal with now is like watching video with those guys. All right. The more you can watch video with visual learners, the better off they're going to be. All right. Think about like the guy that maybe he's struggling. You keep telling him to do something. You keep telling him to try to do something, and he struggles to do it. All right. But all of a sudden you video him. And then you show it to him. All right, how many times does that happen to the guys before? All right, you show them the video, and all of a sudden it's like, man, I see what you're talking about. All right, I think you got to make sure you pull those guys in and watch video with them to help them learn. And the good thing about video is when they want to argue with you, it doesn't lie. All right, I won't hit too much on TrackMan and Rapsodo, but TrackMan and Rapsodo, I mean, there are a lot of guys that are really math-like oriented. I will tell you that you can run yourself down a rabbit hole with some of the stuff chasing metrics. Make sure we're not chasing metrics because what that tends to do is guys start to move a little bit differently, okay? Because they're thinking about the metric versus like allowing themselves to move. I think that happens a lot, but Michael hit on a lot of TrackMan info for you guys later on. How many of you guys have TrackMan or Rapsodo? Really good tool. I mean, I would encourage you to have one because there are guys that learn this way.
How often are you using that?
We use TrackMan every time we throw. We video every time we throw. We use TrackMan every time. I mean, the good thing about it is that as a coach, we think we see something a lot of times, but you go back and you look at the TrackMan and it might not always be true. All right, plyos. I'll tell you, these can be really good. They can be really bad. All right? It depends on how you guys use them. I will tell you, this is something you really need to monitor very closely because how many of you guys nowadays see guys show up at the ballpark and they're always cutting the ball? See it a lot, right? Okay. Well, it starts right here with plyos. All right? The more guys throw plyos and they throw the ball to the middle of their body and across, the more they start cutting the ball. All right, when you start adding weight, they start getting to the side of the ball. All right, you really need to do a good job with your players, making sure they try to throw the ball their face and to the right, if they're a right-hander, their face to the left, if they're a left-hander. All right, and when I say that, I'm not talking about you're throwing it way over here. It should be in a window in this area. All right, but if you start getting across your body, you're going to start watching some guys cut the baseball. All right, using those plyos. Right here, we have reverse throws. Reverse throws for us, all it does is warm up our shoulder and our T-spine. All right, the throwing side knee is going to be down, and the landing leg, we want to make sure it is out front and stable in the ground. All right, what we don't want when he does this is we don't want, and if you watch your guys do it, a lot of them will allow that knee to just kind of fold in. All right, we don't want that thing to fold in because then we're not really getting the work we want as far as opening up the T-spine. Got a video here, I think. There we go. So step backs here. All right, so notice here, I'm going to step back. All right, what I want to make sure we don't do, all right, you see it's a small, I put one step or 1 foot. All right, it should be just a small step back. All right, it shouldn't be a big jump back, because when it turns into a jump back, it turns into a push. Okay, and we don't want to be pushy in this drill. You can see he begins to hinge and then he begins to move forward as he sit back and then go. Watch the hinge. He's in the ground and then he's in the ground with his lead leg. Direction is right through his target. His throw to the right. Rocker drill here. You should start with your lead leg slightly open. He doesn't do it here. He starts with the foot closed, which is right. He shifts the center of mass back into his hips, keeping his hips underneath him. And he's trying to make sure both feet are firmly in the ground. All right, the figure 8 rocker. Pretty self-explanatory. He's doing a figure 8 out front. He's trying to keep the arm loose. One thing that's really helped him here, this has shortened his arm path without him having to think about it. And it's helped him get his hand more on time, out front. His hips are going to deliver the arm. All right, the toss-in drill here. All right, all he's going to do is walk towards his target, toss the ball, catch it, throw it. He's going to begin the arm swing immediately after he catches the ball. All right, what this does is it cleans up guys that have timing issues. So if you got that guy that really struggles to get his arm on time, all right, he's missing up and arm side a lot. All right, this will be a good drill for him. All right, the post-up drill. What I would tell you to do is if you have a hurdle, we're using a ball here, but if you have a hurdle, use a hurdle and just put it in front of the lead foot. But if you notice here, he's going to keep his front foot slightly closed. He's going to throw and rotate and watch how he gets into his front side and kind of creates that block out of the lead leg. Block, as the young guys like to call it. All right, so here we got the step behind. He'll start with his back to the wall. Wants to be in an athletic stance. He steps backwards. Tries to keep that back foot in the ground as long as possible. When he turns around, it helps create separation for him. Also helps create the arm on time. All right, this is called the hook 'em drill. He's going to start in a hinge. Notice he's dropped his foot to where he would normally in a game, like if he's going through his delivery. He relaxes it there, and then he throws, rotating into that front foot. Walking towards. He starts with his hips. Now, Eli likes to dip in a little bit on this drill, which kind of helps him a little bit, but like typically you want to start and have your hips and feet facing the wall. Rotate the torso while keeping the hips open to the wall. All right, what that's doing is helping create that separation for you also. You see he keeps his hips stacked also. All right, here. Getting into plyos. All right, so what we do is we break this down into a couple different categories. I don't know if you can see this here, but this is a low intent. It's kind of a recovery day. All right, this is a medium intent day. This is a medium high day, and this is a high day. All right, and what we're talking about, a low day is going to be 50% effort. All right, probably going to be the day after you pitch. Okay, so it'll be really low. We have 24 throws in that series. The biggest plyo ball we'll use is a 9-ounce ball. Okay? So how many of you guys have the blue ball? Okay, the blue ball we don't use. It's too heavy. Okay? It's more than 9 ounces. So we try to keep it below 9 ounces in all these drills that we do here. All right, the medium intent day is going to be 60 to 70% effort. The medium high is going to be 70 to 80. And we're going to fall, most days, we're going to fall into these 2 categories. Okay? The medium and the medium high. The high intent days, we're going to save those for our bullpen days, and we're going to save those for our game days. Okay? And notice, it's got high intent. I got 80%. All right? We're not throwing those plyo balls as hard as we can. All right? Our guys are not, it's more for warming up, and it's more for mapping purposes of the arm. Okay? I hate when I go to like games in the summertime and I'm seeing guys like throwing the green ball. All right? Don't allow guys to throw the green ball forward. All right? It's very bad for the arm. They're not physically ready for that. Okay? And I think it's even worse when I go see the pitcher throwing the green ball and the catcher throwing it back to him. Okay? Like, try to limit. I mean, talk to your guys about plyos because you can really screw some things up right here. All right, with plyos. Right here to the side, each pitcher, there's 4 pitchers right there listed for you. Each of them have different plyo drills. It depends on what each guy needs. Okay? Everybody's going to be a little bit different. Now, I will tell you this, we're fortunate. Our guys were able to go through a screening assessment where they come in and tell us how guys move and what they may need. So I'm able to throw these plyos together to help them from that standpoint. All right, it's all movement-based and how their body works.
Do you ever throw them off the slope, or is it always on flat ground?
We've done them off the slope. Right now, we're not doing too much off the slope, but I mean, I do think obviously we're pitching off the slope, and it's a little bit different off the flat ground. But like, can young guys handle that every day? I mean, I think that's a big question. When I've done that in the past, it's typically been on a bullpen day or a game day. Any other questions on the plyos? Individual throwing programs. So just understand this is a process. I mean, they're always going to be trying to make their throwing program better, whether it be week to week, year to year, month to month, whatever it may be. When I say map backwards, okay, you guys start your high school season, February 22nd, is that good? Is that a good date? Maybe before that?
Practice.
Yeah, practice.
January 29th.
January, games. When do you start games?
In February.
In February? Okay, so like take that date that you're going to start games, and all you want to do is map it backwards. Okay? And when I say map it backwards, what you're looking to do is you're looking to probably add anywhere from about 6 to 8 bullpens at least before they face hitters. All right, we try to get in at least 6 to 8 pins before they actually throw a live to a hitter. Okay? Because, and we had this discussion the other day, it's like when they start facing that hitter, that adrenaline starts flowing. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to build up their pitch count in the bullpen with no hitter in there. All right, with no hitter. And then when we go to the field, we'll dial it back down a little bit. So let's say we've worked up to 45 pitches, all right, in the bullpen. I'm not going to take our guy and go say, hey, let's go throw 45 pitches against a live hitter today. Why? All of a sudden, I can't ask him to go 45 pitches full of adrenaline. Okay, if we do, we're going to get somebody hurt. All right, so what we do is we'll throw 15 pitches in the pen to keep that count going. I'll give them 5 warm-up pitches, okay, and then they might go 15 pitches versus a hitter, and we'll keep building again versus live hitters. Be aware of what each athlete does every day. I mean, you need to communicate with those guys like, hey, how'd you feel today as far as like going 90 feet? Can you go 120? All right, talk to those guys each day about what they like. I think that's really important. Allow the pitcher to take ownership. All right, you guys know. I mean, the more they feel like they're making the decisions, the better it typically goes, right? So let them help you as far as like making those decisions. You just guide them and steer them the way you want to. Create a weekly plan, and I'll get to that a little bit later, like where you map it out, you send it to your guys, where they know what they're doing each week. Try to send that on a Sunday. If you can send it on a Sunday and they know walking in, hey, this is what I got on Monday, this is what I got on Tuesday, they're able to prepare their body a lot better. Provide target ranges. So if you want them to throw 90, I mean, throw 75, 90 and see if they get to 90 that day. They'll tell you how their arm feels. Okay? If they're feeling really good, they're probably going to get to 90. Same thing with 90, 120, 120, 150. And once you get to know them, you can really narrow that plan down to each individual guy. Long toss. We try long toss typically 2 times a week. All right, long toss for me is 180. If you get to 180, then we consider that long toss. All right, some guys go more than 180. I mean, we have guys that go out to about 280 feet. All right, but it's really, again, guy to guy.
Matt,
Yep.
can I ask you a question? When you do the long toss, do you have a preference how high or whatever?
I don't. I mean, we have a couple guys that are on the line. We have a couple guys that put some air under it. I mean, it really depends on the guy, like what kind of stressors they need to put on their arm. The guy that goes out to 250, he's definitely got some air under it. Now, he's not throwing it over the lights.
Right.
Yeah. This typically falls. This will typically fall on their bullpen day and their game day. All right, really easy for a starter, right? You know when they're going to start, so you know when they're going to be doing relievers. So what we typically do is we try to long toss on Tuesday and Friday. All right, so they get their long toss and then they're hot for the game later that night. Okay, Friday they roll around, they get their long toss on Friday. Let's say they don't pitch. Well, Saturday just becomes a 90-foot catch play day. Okay, and they can still pitch that day. You can see here, this is the individual plans. You can see this is about 5 or 6 of our guys here. And what I got here is, this is 90 feet. I mean, it has a category down here for them, and it tells them exactly what they're doing. That's 90 feet. This is a live 10 day. And you can see right here, they're going 22 pitches. He's got a long toss. Right here, Eli Jones only goes out to 150 feet. He's a sinker guy. Okay, I don't take him too far out. All right, we went to 180 all fall, watched him a lot. We kind of narrowed it back to 150 for him because his best throwing was in that range. This is an off day for him right now, the red. This will be a 90-foot catch play day. You got 120 here, 90 feet, and they're going to throw live again on Sunday. You can see we jumped from 22 pitches to 35 pitches, and we're going to break that down into sets.
Matt, talk about that 150 for a senior guy. Talk more about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a guy. I mean, like, so Matthew Becker here, he's a guy that really carries the baseball. I mean, ton of rides with his fastball. He's a guy that we'll take out right now to 250. So it really depends on what the guy is. I mean, the sinker guy, he's probably not going to throw a ton of balls up. I mean, some guys will take out, but like it's really a guy-to-guy thing. We found that Eli was at his best in that 150 range. Roman, he's another guy. He'll backspin some balls. It's got a ton of carry through the zone. He's getting behind the balls, and I think the further you go out, and if you want to make good throws, you have to create that backspin. All right, so what that does is it helps both of these guys create more backspin. I can tell you Matthew here all fall, he struggled getting behind the ball. He was throwing more sinkers. All right, so Mike and I talked, and we were like, man, we just need to take him out in some long toss because he wasn't really getting in this 250 range. He was getting in that more 180 range. Really easy for him. Okay, really easy to play catch at 180. All right, so we start taking him back to 250, and all of a sudden, to get the ball to his partner, he has to really start getting behind the ball. Well, now we're starting to see Matthew's fastball carry a lot much better. I mean, a lot more. Okay, I mean, I think he was up around 23 on an average 2 days ago. All right, which is really good. Mike will get into some of those numbers later. Right now, you can see each guy has one off day. All right, the red is an off day. All right, so what we're doing is we're building our throw program. It starts with about 3 or 4 days in a row, and then we'll give them a day off. And then we just keep building days in a row, and all of a sudden when the season starts, we'll be at 7 days a week. All right, some guys on this day here, on this red day, a no-throw day right now, will become just plyos. Okay, some guys will go plyos and just throw it 60 feet. But it's really on how the guy feels, and the communication between you and that player is really important. If you can see this, throwing plans here. All right, so this is Eli Jones. All right, this is built out from November 13th. So basically, we finished our fall, I think, around November 8th, November 9th, and he had off until the 19th. He started his throwing program it was just plyos for the first week, first couple weeks. All right, and then we get over here to where he'll go. It's a build up, and we'll get over here to January 26th, and he'll be ready to go 3 innings, 45 pitches. Okay, and he actually gets 6 bullpens in, and then face live hitters. So he'll have 2 live sessions. So he'll get 8 times off the mound before he actually throws 45 pitches in a scrimmage. So this is Matthew Becker here. You can see he was a guy that was a little further, so we took him out. We took him out long toss. We were 3 times a week. He was stretching it out, and it was a build-up. It started at 180, 220, 250. I mean, I could probably take him to about 300 now if I wanted to. But like he's in a good spot where he is. We'll kind of stay there unless we feel like we need to back him out. All right, or if we need to pull him back in. All right, you really have to just watch the play. And he'll also be ready on the 26th to go for 3 innings. He had 7 bullpens and 2 lives. All right, so he's got 9 outings on the mound before he's actually going to pitch competitively in the game or scrimmage. Any questions on that? Bullpens. Talking about bullpens here, make sure you have a plan going into the pen. All right, what I like for our guys to do is be able to tell me when they come to the pen what they want to work on. All right, because they know what they've done in their outings. Have you struggled in your last outing landing a slider? Have you struggled with your fastball getting into the glove side? All right, maybe that's something we spend a little bit extra time in that bullpen on, and we want to execute those things. Keep it real simple. That's another thing. I mean, like I talk about all this stuff. Like, if you have a plan, you have a routine, it makes everything really, really simple. All right, the day runs itself. Have pitchers throw together in the bullpen. All right, so what I mean by that is I step up, I throw 1 set. And Eddie here will step up, he'll throw the 2nd set. All right, and what we're doing is we're competing against each other. All right, so how many strike? We have the track man. If you have a Rapsodo or track man, hey, you use it that way. Or if you don't have either one of them, you can still use your eyes. You guys know what a strike looks like. All right, call strike balls and strikes. They can compete with each other. I think that's one thing. I mean, I saw with 2 of our freshmen the other day. Like, they were really good in their first set. We didn't do anything. Second set, they started competing against each other. And all of a sudden, the misses were a little bit more. Okay, because they were putting pressure on themselves. I want that pressure to start happening in the bullpen so they're ready to perform when they get out in front of a crowd. Work sets, I would say 18. 18 probably needs to be a cutoff in a set. And what I mean is you throw 18 pitches to your catcher, you sit, and then maybe you got 10 or 18 more, whatever it may be. All right, whatever that pitcher needs that day. But start trying to create sets because the up-downs, when your season starts, those up-downs matter. Okay? Up-downs are huge. And what I mean by up-downs is like you going to the dugout and sitting down and then coming back out the pitch. Okay? Another thing you can do is we change balls a lot. Like, so maybe 5 pitches in because you're not going to pitch the whole game with the same ball. All right, I'll just flip them a new ball. I say this, work to the pitcher's strength. And you as a pitching coach, you need to understand their strengths. All right, I think that part's really important. I think we get lost sometimes, like guys want to throw 8 different pitches. All right, I mean, guys that want to tinker with a bunch of different pitches, like, no, let's get good at what we're good at. Okay, and what I mean by that is like, if you got a guy that can't throw 2 pitches for strikes in the zone, you probably need to concentrate on those 2 first. All right. I would say one of them probably being a fastball, one of them probably being a breaking pitch. All right, and if he does throw 2 in the zone, start that 3rd one. I'll tell you this too, I've seen guys at our level, I've seen it in the minor league level. All right, and I know it happens at the college level, guys trying to throw curveballs and sliders. All right, what tends to happen a lot of times is guys throw 1 pitch. Okay, it's 1 pitch and probably not very good pitch. Okay, if I got a really good curveball, I want to throw that really good curveball, especially if it can swing and miss, right? All right. So, like, I'm not saying guys can't throw both. All right, but there's not a ton of high school guys that can do both at a young age because it takes exceptional feel to be able to do both. So the guy playing with the curveball, slider, and the cutter, tell him to stop. Once again, no reason to throw 4 or 5 if you can't control 2. Pitch counts. I know you guys have pitch count rules. This is kind of what we operate under right here. 20 or fewer, you don't really need a day off. All right, we think our guys are strong enough to be able to go out there and do that. Obviously, there's going to be a conversation if a guy pitches on a Friday night. Hey man, how do you feel the next day? That next morning, how do you feel? How do you feel after you're throwing for? I'm constantly asking, how do you feel? All right, because what I want to get is how do you respond to me? Okay, I know how most of our guys respond to us, and if they tell me I feel great every day, then I should probably be looking for I feel great. All right, but if they all of a sudden come in there and they tell me I feel okay, well then that's a red flag for me. Like he's probably not telling me the full truth. 20 to 40, 1 day off. 40 to 50, 2 days. 50 to 60, 3 days. 60 to 75, 4 days. 75 plus, 5 days. Back-to-back days, you're going to have 2 days off in this week. All right, so what I mean by that is you'll be down for 2 days. If you go back-to-back days, meaning you throw 20 pitches and 20 pitches, then you're going to be down the next 2 days. That's it. Any questions?